Let me tell you a little story about how I paid off $70,000 in student loans in 4 years and 10 months. Every story has a beginning, and my story begins when I was getting ready to go to college. Signed up to get student loans. School was going to cost about $3,500 per semester, but the student loan company said, hey, Jarrad, if you want, you can take out up to, it was roughly like $8,000 per semester if you want. I looked at it. I had no money management skills when I was younger. I said, yeah, sign me up. I'll take the max. I'll take the max for as long as I can. So that's what I did. So that's how I got into debt. I didn't think about having to ever pay it back. That wasn't on my mind. I just wanted to party, have fun with my friends, maybe work a little bit here and there, and that's what I did. I got my first job 5 months after I graduated. The student loans became due. I had to start paying on them 6 months after I graduated. Perfect timing, right? You'd think. So I get my first statement, and it kind of lays everything out. Hey, Jarrad, you owe us $70,000. Okay, cool. Read that. I see what the minimum payment is. I'm like, oh, I can afford that. It's, it might be tight, but I can afford that right now. Then the next line told me how much I would be paying in interest. If I paid the minimum payment, it would take me 20 years to pay off. And in those 20 years, on a $70,000 principal student loan, I would be paying $80,000 in interest. $80,000. I looked at that number and I said, whoa. A, that's a long time. 20 years is a long time. And B, that's a lot of money. And I got mad. I got angry. I said to myself, if somebody thinks I'm going to give them $150,000 of my money, they are out of their effing mind. Out of their mind. So I said, there's no way. There's got to be a better way to get out of this. There has to be. So I thought about, okay, how can I get rid of this? Well, am I going to pay it? I could pay it, right? Or can I get rid of it somehow? Is there some way I can get rid of it? Can I file bankruptcy and get rid of it? Well, I can tell you one thing. There's only 2 ways to get rid of your student loans. You either have to die or you become disabled. And I wasn't planning on doing any of those things. So that wasn't an option. And I'm kind of glad that it wasn't an option because I would have felt like I would have cheated the system. I would have felt like a big piece of shit if I would have been able to file bankruptcy to get rid of my student loans. Because I was the dummy when I was younger. I'm the one who took out the money. I owed the money. I would have felt bad. And I'm very happy that you cannot file bankruptcy on student loans. You might not agree with me, but I don't care. Enter into the picture Mr. Shay Carl. He's a huge YouTuber that I have been watching for the past 12, 13, 14 years. I don't know, however long he's been around. He made a video one time and it said, we're debt free. I'm like, what's this? Click on it, watch it. He mentions a gentleman named Dave Ramsey. I said, who is this guy? Get out of debt? What? I looked into Dave Ramsey, found out about his baby steps of how to get out of debt as quick as possible. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I knew that Shay Carl held some weight with what he said. I really trusted that guy. So I watched Dave Ramsey's things and I slowly dabbled in it, tried it just a little bit, tried the whole budgeting thing just a little bit to see, okay, is this even real? And then eventually I fully bought in because I trusted in the system, because it made sense of how I could get my student loans or any kind of debt paid off as quick as possible. He's got baby steps, the baby step process. And I'll link Dave Ramsey because these are all his tools. I'm just telling you my story of what I went through, the things that I did. But definitely check him out. Like I said, I'll throw a link. I highly recommend him and his baby steps. And this is all his work. It's not mine, okay? I'm just a product of his tools. Baby steps. Don't worry about all of them. All you got to worry about if you're in debt is the first 2. Forget about the rest because you've got a long way to go if you owe somebody as much money as I did, if not more. Baby step 1, emergency fund. You gotta save $1,000 before you start trying to go into the whole debt snowball. Save $1,000. Well, how am I gonna do that? Well, you gotta save, dummy. That's how you save the $1,000. Does it suck at first? Absolutely. Will it maybe take you a little while? Absolutely. But you don't skip steps. You don't. And Dave Ramsey will explain that when you go check him out, because you better go check him out if you really care. Second is the Debt Snowball. This is Dave Ramsey's process as to how to pay the student loans off. I wrote something here, but I'm not going to go over it because he can explain it better, and you definitely want to go check it out because it's at least worth it to go listen. At least worth it to go listen, just like anything, right? Whether you agree with it or not, just go check it out. If you're in debt, I don't think you have another choice, do you? Probably not. So there's an option. I'm handing it to you right now on a plate. Go see Uncle Dave and see what he has to say. One thing Dave Ramsey talks about is he says as you start to go through this process, you're going to notice that a lot of friends and family and other outsiders are going to make fun of you. You're going to get backlash from your friends and family. I was like, there's no way. Why would you? Well, the reason is because his steps are very unconventional. People aren't used to it. But if you want to actually get your loans paid off, in this case, student loans for me, you've got to do the work. You've got to go through each and every one of the baby steps. I had so many people make fun of me. So many people that made fun of me when I first started and when I was going through the whole process that are now saying, oh man, I need to get my student loans paid off. Well, obviously, why do you think I started it? But I kept down that path and I wasn't listening to all the other people chirping. But why were they chirping? Why were they making fun of me? Why are they saying, oh, you should have your student loans forever? Yeah, I mean, that's just going to happen. Why would they say that? Well, everybody is used to having debt. America is full of debt, and that's a huge issue. The backlash also comes because you have to say no a lot. You have to say no to people, to friends, to family, when it comes to doing certain things, when it comes to spending money on certain things. And a lot of people don't like that. They say, why can't you come do this with us tonight? Oh, well, I don't have the extra money. Yeah, you do. You have a really good job. Well, I know that, but the extra money that I could be spending on a show that we're going to tonight or a dinner we're going to tonight, that extra money I could be putting towards my student loans to get it paid off just a little bit quicker. Guidelines that I set for myself. I wouldn't let myself go on a vacation. I said at the very beginning, you're not allowed to take a vacation until you get these paid off. I haven't been on a vacation in years. In years. Could I have taken one? Absolutely. But the money I would have been spending on that vacation isn't going towards the loans. So what's that going to do for me? It's just going to take a lot longer to get these things paid off. That was the opportunity cost for me. And the cost of the student loans and having that hanging over my head was so much greater than going and enjoying that vacation for 5-7 days. Now, I've worked for 3 different corporations since I graduated college. And I've made enough money to where I could pay some extra on my student loans, no problem. But I wanted to do something a little different. And it's Dave Ramsey's idea, Dave Ramsey's suggestion. So Monday through Friday, I would work at my full-time job. And then on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, I would go work at a restaurant. I did this for 3.5 years, maybe a little more than 3.5 years. The reason that I did that is because it netted me a decent amount of extra money. Why would I do this? That doesn't make any sense. Jarrad, you're already making enough money and pretty good money in corporate America. Why would you do that? Because I'm crazy. Because I'm nuts. And here's also why. I worked as a server, and if you work as a server, you know that you can usually make decent money, and it will range. So on average, I pull in an extra $800 to $1,300 a month, we'll say. So we'll just average it out, say I made an extra $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 extra dollars. $12,000 that I could put to those student loans. People at my weekend jobs at the restaurants thought I was absolutely insane. People at my full-time jobs in corporate America thought I was absolutely nuts. Why are you doing this? Like, I had multiple managers at these restaurants say, why do you work here? Like, you don't need this job. Yeah, I know, but I had this big goal in mind to get this paid off as quick as possible. And so many people didn't understand that. They didn't get it. But I was willing to put in the time of working 7 days a week just to get this paid off, just for a little bit extra money. And it was so worth it, it's not even funny. Now, I will tell you, I was so busy and I was always going that it was a running joke with my sisters when I lived with them, and I'll post pictures here, because I would just be going nonstop, 7 days a week, all the time, to where when I would get home from work and I wouldn't really have anything going on, wherever I sat, wherever I laid down, I would pass out. I would pass out in the weirdest positions, the weirdest places, and the dogs used me for a dog bed. It was kind of funny because my sisters took a bunch of pictures, and I'll post them because it was a running joke, and you know what, it kind of just goes to show how much I was working, how hard I was working. My sisters, going back to the backlash from friends and family, they were even telling me, they supported me, but they were even telling me, Jarrad, just quit the weekend job. Like, you're so burnt out, you're so tired, but that didn't matter because the goal was so much bigger than the time that I had to spend at the restaurant making that extra money. I hated the feeling so much of owing that much money to somebody. And you might say, Jarrad, oh, I owe so much more than $70,000. I went to school to be a doctor. I mean, I owe like $200,000. Well, no shit, because you're getting paid a lot more than I am. Therefore, it doesn't matter. It evens out in the long run. So in the end, all it really comes down to are three different things: hard work, dedication, and sacrifice. There's no magic formula, no magic tool. It's just the processes that Dave Ramsey put in place. They're very functional, they make sense, they're easy to wrap your head around. So easy. But you've got to be willing to work hard. If you aren't willing to work hard and get a weekend job, and go above and beyond and be very unconventional with what your thinking and how you're going to make that extra income to put towards your student loans or your loans, then just stop. You don't want it then. You don't want it that bad if you're not willing to put in the hard work. Also, dedication. You've got to be dedicated to the baby steps, period. You have to be dedicated, because if you start to veer off the path, then you're surely going to fail. That one time that you slip up, that can snowball into a whole bad routine, and it will throw you off of this whole thing. And then the last thing is sacrifice. There's so much that you have to sacrifice, you have no idea what you're in for. But I can tell you right now, all three things that I just named are so worth it when you get to the point where I'm at right now. It makes me so happy, and I feel so free that I can just do anything that I want. Because I saw this huge mountain at first. I mean, looking up at $70,000 in student loans plus whatever the hell else I paid in interest. I mean, it's a huge pile of shit. A huge pile of turds that I'm just looking at. And it's so hard at first. But one thing Dave Ramsey says is, if you want to eat an elephant, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's what I did. I shut my mouth. I started grinding day in and day out. And it got to the point where paying extra money towards my student loans and things like that and working my budget, it was almost like a game to me. When I could pay a little bit more towards my student loans, oh my gosh, it literally gave me gratification from that sense. But I can tell you, once you start to kind of get over that hump, get past that steep part, you already start to feel like you're winning. It makes you keep going just a little bit more. It makes it so much easier to shut your mouth and go to the extra job on the weekend, or to say no to people when they want you to do things. That's the sacrifices you have to make. But if you're not willing to make these sacrifices, then don't even start. Don't even bother. If you're not going to buy in fully, quit. I mean, don't even go look at Dave Ramsey's website, because you don't care enough. And if you want to be in debt for the rest of your life, then don't go check Dave Ramsey out. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Because of what? I'm full of shit? That's bullshit. Because I've been through the whole thing. I've been through it. I've been down there. I felt like crap. The fact that I owed somebody that much money, and I'm like, I can never get rid of this. It was hard. You have no idea how hard it was. I sacrificed seeing my friends and hanging out with so many people and doing so many things for the longest time. But it's so worth it. I didn't get a chance. I didn't see my friends for months. The only time I ever saw them for a little while there was when they would come into the restaurants to eat. That was it. And they're still friends with me. That's the best part. I have the best friends in the world because they support me and they see everything that I've done And now they're seeing the end game. And it's like, holy smokes, maybe dumbass Jarrad knew what he was talking about. I guess so. But it wasn't me. It was Dave Ramsey. I can't take credit. But I did do the work, right? So I still have to be able to appreciate everything that I did and all the things that I went through. And I can't wait for you to have this feeling, because it's going to take a while, but you literally just have to put your blinders on. I'm telling you, when I worked that weekend job, so many people didn't know how I did it. They didn't understand it. But I was so busy grinding. I was so busy in the zone. And once you get in that zone, that's all you think about. That's it. And it's, man, you are like a robot. I was like a robot for the longest time. Another thing is the budget. If you've never done a budget before, I highly suggest doing one. And if you think you're doing a budget, you're probably not doing a budget. Dave Ramsey will explain to you how to do a budget. He also has free software that you can use, a budgeting tool that I've used since I started listening to him. And this one's free. It's everydollar.com. I'll link it as well. Definitely check it out. I literally use that to figure out my budget every single month. And if you, like I said, if you think you're doing a budget, you're probably not doing it right. You just aren't. Because you can, if you say I don't have any extra money to put towards my loans that I owe, I'm telling you, if you do a budget and you see where your money's going, I guarantee you, you will find more money than you think you can. You can find a lot of money in a budget if you just start cutting things out and realizing what are you really spending your money on. In closing, there's a couple people I want to thank, or groups of people, companies. I want to thank my family. My family's pretty much supported me throughout this whole thing. I've been very fortunate to where my family's never really given me any backlash. Like my sisters would, but it was more of a, Jarrad, you need some more free time. Like you've worked so hard. You've already got the majority of your student loans paid off. Just quit the weekend job. So it was that sort of thing. They were never mad at me. But really, everyone who's watched me go through this journey from a family perspective. Also, I want to thank my friends. I probably have the best friends, and including my guy friends are, their wives and girlfriends. I owe you all more than you'll ever know, because you've all stuck with me throughout this whole process. And I might have looked a little crazy for a while there, but and I might have disappeared off the map, for a long time there. But I think everybody kind of realizes what I was doing the whole time. This whole huge mountain that I was trying to tackle, just so I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. So I definitely appreciate all my friends. You guys are the best. That's why I've been friends with you since middle school. I love you all. I also want to thank the companies that have allowed me to work for them. So the companies in corporate America, and also the restaurants. So my uncle's restaurant I used to work for a few years, that's closed down, but thank you, Uncle B. I love you. And then I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Rail. They let me work 2 days a week. Just come in and work 2 days a week and then leave. They didn't ask any more of that from me. And normally a restaurant will want you to work during the week if you're going to work on the weekends, because that just doesn't make sense. They usually won't hire somebody just for the weekends, but they did, and they allowed me to come in there and bust my ass and do what I do best, which is work really hard to help them out and also help myself out by making that extra money. And last but not least, I want to thank all of my coworkers over the years. I want to thank all of my coworkers, especially at the restaurant, like the Rail. I was there when the store first opened, so I was kind of like an original member, like that store that I was working at. And you all made work just a little bit better, right? Because Monday through Friday, I would be busting my butt in corporate America. And then the weekends, usually people party on the weekends. They let loose on the weekends. They have fun. But going to the weekend job, all of you that I worked with, you all made it more enjoyable. You all were my fun on the weekends. It sounds crazy, but man, I'll tell you what, you all made my life so much better and also helped me forget about the whole huge process I was going through. I definitely appreciate you all, my Rail family, the original members, and like I said, anybody who I worked with. I love you all. Thank you. Everyone who I just named has been a part of this. Without all of those people, I would be nothing. I wouldn't have been able to get this done. Life would have been miserable. But it's thanks to my friends, family, and those coworkers that made my life just a little bit more happy, even though I was out there grinding my booty off. Okay, that's it. Hit me up if you have any questions, any suggestions. You need some coaching for even this, man. That's I've been through it. Okay, I've been through it. I've been to the lowest of the low, and I never plan on going back.